Have you ever wondered how some companies just explode? They go from being a local favorite to a massive global giant. Well, I can tell you, it's not just luck. There's a blueprint, a master plan for taking on the world. It's called an international strategy, and we're going to break down exactly how it works.
So, to really get this, we're going to look at a perfect and, let's be honest, pretty controversial example, Ryanair. I mean, these guys started with just one single plane back in 1985, flying between Ireland and England, and now? Now, they are an absolute force in the European skies. So how on earth did they do it?
Get ready for this number, 150 million. That is how many people Ryanair flies in just 1 year. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire population of Russia. The scale is just, wow, it's staggering.
Right, and that's the big question here, isn't it? How did they get so huge? I mean, Europe's biggest airline, while also being the cheapest ticket you can find. It's not magic. The answer is all in their strategy, and it is brilliant.
Okay, so let's break down that winning formula. We're going to peel back all the layers of their business, and you'll see pretty quickly this was no accident, not at all. It's a super carefully crafted plan, and it all kicks off with one core idea.
And that idea is strategy. Sounds fancy, but really all it is the set of moves, the planned actions a company makes to hit its goals. The easiest way to think about it, it's like the company's GPS. It guides every single decision they make, from the big bosses in the boardroom all the way down to the person scanning your ticket at the gate.
All right, so the very first step in building a great strategy is you got to look in the mirror, seriously. Before a company can even think about conquering the world, it has to know what it does best. Like, what is its unique thing? You have to find your corporate superpower.
Now, in the business world, they have a term for this. It's called a core competency. And look, this isn't just about something you're kind of good at. No. This is a special, unique ability that your competitors look at and just can't copy. It's basically your secret weapon. So the big question is, how do you even find it?
Well, you use a tool called a value chain analysis. Yeah, I know, it sounds super corporate and complicated, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. You basically just break down everything your company does, every little activity, and you figure out, okay, where are we actually creating value?
You can think of it like this. You split everything the company does into two big buckets. In the first bucket, you have your primary activities. This is the core stuff, right? Making the product, marketing it, getting it to the customer. Then, in the second bucket, you've got support activities. This is all the behind-the-scenes stuff that makes everything else run smoothly. Think HR, IT, that kind of thing.
And this right here is where you see Ryanair's genius, or maybe their obsession. Let's look at their primary activities. They cut costs everywhere. They fly to cheaper, smaller airports way outside the city. They charge you for everything, especially checked bags. They even save 50 grand a year just by not giving you free ice. Then you look at their support activities, and it's the same story. They only fly one kind of plane, the Boeing 737. That slashes their costs for maintenance, for parts, for pilot training, you name it. And when you add it all up, you get their core competency. Just ruthless, unbelievable operational efficiency.
Okay, so you've found your superpower. You know what you're amazing at. Now what? Well, now you have to pick your battle plan. How are you actually going to compete out there in the market? And there are really a few main ways to go about it.
Really, it boils down to two main options. First, you can be the low-cost leader. This is Ryanair's whole game. Your one and only goal is to be the cheapest, period. You build your whole company around having the lowest costs. Or you can go the complete opposite direction. That's called differentiation. And for that, just think of a brand like Lamborghini. They couldn't care less about being cheap. They're all about being unique, special, and that's why they can charge a fortune.
And then there's a third way, which is pretty interesting. It's the focus strategy. This is where you don't even try to appeal to everybody. You just target a super tiny, specific niche market. And the most memorable example? Luwak coffee. These are coffee beans that have been eaten, digested, and then passed by a small animal called a civet. I'm not kidding. And it sells for up to $300 a pound. Now that is a focused market.
Okay, you've got your battle plan. Next big question. When you go global, what's the move? Do you offer the exact same thing everywhere, a one-size-fits-all approach? Or do you change things up? Add some local flavor for each country. This is a massive decision for any company.
If you go with a global strategy, you're all about standardization. Same product, same marketing, everywhere you go. The huge benefit? You save a ton of money. The other way is a multinational strategy. This is the total opposite. You customize your products, your ads, everything for each specific country. It costs more, but you're way more in tune with what local customers actually want.
And no surprise here, Ryanair is the poster child for a global strategy. A Ryanair flight from Dublin to Rome is pretty much identical to a flight from Krakow to Lisbon. Same plane, same seats, same no-frills service. That absolute consistency is the secret sauce to keeping their costs rock bottom.
But here's the thing, a strategy like Ryanair's, it only works because they built the perfect machine to actually run it. And this is so important. You can have the most brilliant strategy in the world written down on paper, but if your company isn't set up to actually do it, it's totally useless. The strategy is the what you're going to do. The organizational structure, that's the how.
So what is organizational structure? It's just the way a company divides up all its work and then coordinates it so everyone is pulling in the same direction. It's the internal blueprint, and if you get this part wrong, trust me, even the best strategy on earth is doomed to fail.
So, for example, a company that's all about adapting to local markets, that multinational strategy we talked about, they might use something called an international area structure. Basically, they create these little mini companies for each part of the world. The boss of Europe runs Europe, the boss of Asia runs Asia, and so on. This is awesome when you need that local touch, but can you see how it's the exact opposite of what a super lean, standardized company like Ryanair would ever want?
Then you've got these other complex setups like the global matrix structure. People sometimes call it the two bosses structure because you might have to report to a product manager and a country manager. It's supposed to help everyone coordinate better, but for a company that is obsessed with speed and efficiency like Ryanair, I mean, you can just imagine what a complicated, slow-moving nightmare that would be.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've talked about finding your superpower, picking your battle plan, and then building the right machine to make it all happen. So what's the big idea? The one thing you need to remember?
It's this. Strategy and structure are not separate things. They are two sides of the very same coin. You can't have one without the other. A low-cost, global strategy like Ryanair's absolutely demands a lean, simple, and super efficient structure. If they had a different strategy, they would need a totally different company setup. You need both aligned perfectly if you want to.
So, next time you grab a coffee, book a flight, even a Ryanair flight, or just use your phone, take a second and think about it. What's the hidden blueprint behind that? What's the combination of strategy and structure that made it possible for that thing to get from somewhere else in the world right into your hands? Because once you start looking for it, I promise you'll start seeing these blueprints everywhere.